I started school in 1929, and my dad was working at that time for the Indian Agency and traveled a lot. Hello, I'm Choc Charleston, GM Choc Charleston. I'm a World War II vet. I'm 101 year old. This December, be 102. I was so little. I weighed about 125 pounds when I was in high school. I couldn't play football or basketball because of my size. My mother started a dry cleaning business. After school, I had to work. So I took up boxing because you did it at night. I got a boxing scholarship to Cameron University. I didn't get to take them up on that because I went to California to work in the shipyards building Liberty ships for the war as a welder. Then one day, Mother called and said that Mr. Hearn was head of the draft board, and he said that I was going to the Army. And so I joined hundreds of boys, and we went into the military in 1943. I don't know of any Native Americans that didn't go to fight for their country. There was 3 busloads of us left Duncan at the same time and went to the state of Washington. There we formed the 739th Tank Battalion, and I became a tank driver. We went to New York to get on the boat. It took us 13 days to cross from New York to Liverpool, England, and normally that's a 5 or 6 day trip. But Nazi submarines were so thick, we went zigzag all the way across, trying to dodge the submarines. We landed at Liverpool, but tanks were waiting for us in Wales. So we went out to Wales, got our tanks, and then had some practice runs and things there. The 739th Tank Battalion is made up of 3 battalions. So the battalion commanders flipped coins to see who would stay in England as a backup, and the other 2 went in to France. Well, we won. We stayed there, and of course you've seen on television how the men were trying to climb up those walls. Well, you can't drive a tank up a wall like that. So, but they were up the beach quite a ways where there was a road. Well, the Germans had that centered in, and the hospitals were full of those other 2 battalions pretty quick. It was our turn to get on the landing craft to go to the beach at Le Havre, France. We went through Belgium and up to Aachen, Germany. That was the 2nd largest battle of the war, was Aachen, Germany. But I've never seen so much death and destruction in my life. The Air Force had just done a number on that town. We too caused a little damage. And we got through Aachen and we're headed for the Ruhr River. An 88 knocked my tracks off one side of my tank. So we bailed out of that. We split up and got in other people's tanks. And we got up toward the Ruhr River, and they said that the Germans had blown all the bridges in the river, and so we couldn't cross. So we got in the tank and we go back, and when we catch up with our company, they're turned around facing back toward Belgium. And Captain F came out and he said, "Choc, I'm so glad to see you, boys." And I said, "Well, thank you, Captain. Good to see you." He said, "You don't understand. We're headed back to Belgium. Your tank will be fixed in a few minutes." So they put ammunition and everything in the tank and gassed it up. And the English and the Canadian tankers was behind us. And we went down, and my Lord, we ran into a battle. We didn't know, but Captain said, "Where you went to get your tank is no more. Germans wiped it and the ammunition, everything. Said if you'd stayed there 2 or 3 more hours, you wouldn't be here." More into intense battle as we got into Belgium. About another week had gone by, and here comes some relief. General Patton and his Army, joined in the battle, but it was a horrendous battle there for 30 days. We started pushing them back, and that was in January. By May, we were getting close to the Rhine River. All of a sudden, here comes some jeeps run up by the side of our tank. What's going on? They said, the war's over. They surrendered. I said, well, we should tell them guys over there shooting at us. He said, well, they'll get the word but it's over. They've signed a peace treaty. The full war was over. One of the most interesting things that I've ever had happen. The people in Belgium, so grateful that we helped them survive. I had no idea that many people would turn out to say thank you 80 years later. They do it every year. Now, the King and Queen come out every 5 years. I was just fortunate enough that this was one of the 5 years. And they were very gracious, very nice. They asked me to come to a school while I was there and talk to some school children. And they had preschoolers on the first bench and on up to about the 6th grade. Well, they had prepared about 300 or 400 out of a big sack full of cards, and paper that they had written and drawn pictures, thanking us for liberating their people. And one of the most touching things, the way those little kids had prepared. All of the Belgian people are so appreciative of what happened. My advice to young people, first thing is education. We need education in all our young people to become interested in something besides themselves, to be able to help other people, even if it's just one day a month that you can devote to do something beneficial for someone that needs help, their neighbor or people that are downtrodden that need to be fed or need to be maybe help clean their house or clean their yard, just to lift people up a little. I think our world would be a little better if we would love our neighbor a little more than we do now.